Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Yeah, on the Bitcoin chart, the situation is basically unchanged. Bitcoin pushed a little higher overnight, but hasn't really done anything substantially new or exciting. On one hand, that's good because it just sort of follows our structures. There's no change in structure. The trend is just short-term up. Okay, and we have this trend channel that I brought onto the chart, so I'm going to zoom in a minute, take a look. Overall, no change. The scenarios on the smaller time frame, as discussed yesterday, are unchanged. All still relevant. So, no change. So, however, it's important to recognize the updated parameters. There's some parameters that have been updated because Bitcoin pushed a little higher. So I had to update the micro support area, as you might know, unless Bitcoin forms a local top here in this region, I cannot really confirm this support area as defined. It's currently a moving support area because as this price pushes higher, the support area will move with the price. Doesn't mean the price will dip into this support area. As long as we form higher highs, higher lows, well, there is no wave 2 correction, and therefore I have to adjust it with the price always measured against the latest high, which is labeled yellow wave 1. The overall situation on this chart, as I said, is unchanged. The idea is that a fourth wave started here around the 14th of, I think it was the 14th of March, here, yeah, with this third wave top, where the price peaked locally at $73,720. Then we started a wave 4 correction, which is labeled as a WXY structure in the short-term bearish scenario. And it's labeled as an ABC structure in yellow in the short-term bullish count. They are both valid, both reasonable assumptions. And I wish I could give you very clearly my preference. I'm treating it as if it is bottomed, but we definitely need to keep the door open for one more low. That's all I can say at the moment because the move down is complete. The correction is technically complete, but there is also one other pathway the market could take in case it experiences a roadblock up there or something. It might have to take a diversion, which would be here, this. Yeah. So that means I am looking for higher prices in the next move up to around about $90,000, either from here, but then it should form a higher low, or from down here. So technically speaking, that means buying in this area again, if the price dips into it, could be reasonable. Now, I'm not telling you to do it. That depends on you, yourself, your portfolio, and so on. But from a chart point of view, it might be reasonable to look for more entries in the orange zone. Because it doesn't mean, what it doesn't mean is if we dip into that zone, it's bearish. It actually means it's just another opportunity. Only if the zone breaks, it would be potentially bearish, or at least much less certain. There is never full certainty in these markets anyway, but you have a degree of confidence, okay, and stability, and the support area has been holding here for more than a month now, and therefore as long as we hold it, there's nothing bearish about this chart at all, and the bull market is still running, just making a temporary break here in this correction. That's what a wave 4 does. Okay, it's just boring, but that's technically speaking very, very clear, I think. And if we go up more directly, then we have to watch for the following parameters. So short-term bearish should be clear, but it's part of an overall bullish thesis. And if I zoom into the 30-minute chart here and we zoom into this price action there, and you see not really much happened since yesterday. So in this short-term bearish count that I just mentioned, the rally could be a B wave. And as long as we only see 3 waves up, as long as it has a 3-wave characteristic, as long as we at least can justify to call it also a 3-wave move, I'll leave that on the chart. The problem is this move up from the Friday low is not impulsive, so I can easily interpret it as a correction as well. Okay, so that's sometimes not so clear, not on smaller time frames and not when we have so much overlapping price action as we have here. It's like all looking corrective, right? Here, this high with this low and so on, it lacks the upside momentum that we would normally want to see in an impulse. This wave 4 was also very deep. Okay, didn't overlap with wave 1, but it's not the strongest upside momentum, so we cannot rule out another low. Whenever we're dealing with a leading diagonal, it could also be a correction. That's the thing, they are easily mistaken for each other or, confused. So still though, I'm treating it as if it's bottomed as long as micro support is holding. So in the yellow count, which is short-term bullish, we can justify that this is a leading diagonal in wave 1 in yellow. But then I would like to see a wave 2 pullback to confirm that. So I have 5 waves up. Yeah, it looks good. But we haven't seen any really signs of a wave 2 start. So it needs to hold a higher low in the next pullback, stabilize, react to this support area, and then rally. The support area is now between 64,220 and 61,180. But it takes a break below the trend line here to really, I think, give us a good indication that this wave 2 has started. Still printing higher highs, higher lows. And it reacted to the last resistance level here at around 66,800, which was one of the Fibonacci resistance levels, but also here the previous wave 4 high. So you have structural and Fibonacci resistance together. Recently, someone asked me if it makes sense to consider, let's say, resistance and support levels with Elliott Wave as well. I did say I'd do that already, right? So we have and honestly, the Fibonacci levels, they are support resistance, but also whenever we have structural levels, especially when they align with the Fib levels, they can be good additional, support or resistance. So we see that, but they often don't have a real meaning in Elliott Wave, okay? So might just be a temporary stop. So I prefer the Fib levels though, but yeah, if a pullback starts now, it should dip into this region, but hold it. If we continue to see a rise and it doesn't break to the downside of this channel, then at some point it will morph into the blue count. And I would love to tell you it's blue or yellow now, but it's not possible to distinguish, or white. Okay, so that's all options still on the table. Literally, what distinguishes the bullish momentum from the bearish momentum at the moment is the 61,180 level. Because as long as we hold that level, the yellow count has really a good chance and high probability. But white as well. But then as long as we hold support, I don't think it makes sense to consider it. So it might make sense to consider it from a profit taking point of view. If you think, okay, it could still be a B wave, I don't want to lose any profits. If I bought down here, then yeah, I mean, maybe take some partial profits, but there's no sign a pullback has started at this stage. Yeah, and then if it continues to push higher, 67,850 and above from here, then it can't be the yellow count anymore. I mean, it could technically, but other counts will become more probable, like the blue count, in which we have a 1, 2, and this would be a third wave, then 4, 5. And this third wave could take the price more directly to around about 71K. Yeah, that's one of these relevant levels. Yeah, that's all I can say really at the moment about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.